welcome to Pat's Soundbites IGTV. Keeping new music alive is what I do on the radio and now on video. Conducting live chats with the artists and learning the stories behind their latest release and also playing their new video. Special thanks to my good friend Jody Best of Best Bet Promotions for coordinating and scheduling today's artists. Having over 20 plus years in the music industry, if you're looking for a highly successful promotion and marketing professional who's extremely motivated, look no further than Jody Best. For more information, contact Jody via email at bestbetpromo@yahoo.com. Special thanks today to my sponsor Go-Go Tuners. For all guitar players looking for a focus on ease of use, readability, durability, and accuracy, look no further. The Go-Go Tuner is the choice of many touring professionals and a favorite of casual players. Go-Go's signature green you're in and red you're out screen makes tuning quick and easy. For more information, go to the website at gogotuners.com. Special thanks to WBXO Classic Rock Radio Redefine, allowing me to keep new music alive on the radio airways on the Pat Show every Sunday from 5 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. Only on WBXO Classic Rock Redefined. And a big thank you to Mr. Evan Balzer for allowing me to use his amazing instrumental that you're hearing right now. It's called Trails. To find out more incredible music by Evan, go to his website at evanbalzer.com. Well, my guest today is a good friend. He's a singer, he's a songwriter, well, he's a handyman, he's a chef, he does it all. He's also the bassist of the great band Last in Line. I'm talking Mr. Phil Soussan. Phil has released this Valentine's Day a great track and video called Fly Again. Yes, Phil's been very, very busy, and he's also released a track called Please Don't Make Me Wait. He just can't wait to get back on stage. We're going to play both of those tracks in their videos. We're going to find out the status of the third album of Last in Line. We're going to talk about that songwriting process. We're going to talk about his cooking, his handyman stuff, all that and a whole lot more. What my good friend Mr. Phil Soussan, right here on Pat's Soundbites IGTV. Hey, live on Pat's Soundbites IGTV, a Valentine's Day for all you lovers out there. For all you wild women out there, I got this super cat here. Although he is married, I gotta say that, but he's a cool guy, a singer, a songwriter, a producer, a chef, a fix-it. The man's got it all covered. Let's just put it that way. But you might know him as a great bass player, but I know him because I follow him on all that social stuff. The wonderful and talented, extremely great musician, Mr. Phil Soussan, out in Las Vegas, right, Phil? You out in Nevada?
Vegas. Wow, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Pat. That's quite an honor. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on your show. I am in Las Vegas indeed. I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to be talking to you and talking to everybody else who's tuning in and listening as well.
Excellent.
And in sunny but very cold Las Vegas. You know it gets cold here, right?
Yeah, you posted a little snow. I mean, I got plenty of snow out here, trust me. But Vegas got snow. I'm looking at one of your pictures. I go, wow, okay.
Well, I know that you're always very eager to share everything, and I know you're planning on sending me some snow. But I want to let you know that we do have a little bit out here, so maybe you can send it to someone more in need.
There you go. Well, a special Valentine's Day today because my good friend Phil Soussan has released a killer song called Fly Again. It's a great single. It's a great video. And you need to subscribe right to Phil's YouTube channel and check it out. It's a little after 12 today, but it came out today, 12 o'clock. Anybody's time zone. I don't even know how they do that, Phil.
I don't know.
It works for me, man.
Yeah.
Great track. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You are such a busy guy. I'm like, man, I don't know how the guy does it, but talk to me about Fly Again. When I first played it a couple of times, and thank you for sharing it with me ahead of time for my eyes and ears only. I got the impression of just somebody having a real bad day, and it's time to brush off your pants, get up back on your feet, give you some encouragement, because I want to see you. I want to see you fly again.
Right.
That's what I took out of it, but I could be wrong. That's just my interpretation.
No, and you're absolutely right. That's why I wrote it. You know, very often as a writer, what we try to do is we try to take our experiences in lives, our feelings, things that stirred us emotionally or in any way, and we try to personify that in some kind of song, some kind of lyric, some kind of music. I suppose that's true for all artists. And then um, the real skill then as a songwriter is in managing to then detach yourself from it so that it ceases to become about you, about me, that is to say, and it starts to become about other people. So other people can fill in the blanks, and and they can relate to it, they can identify with it. And really that's the whole goal of being a songwriter. You know, you try to take a feeling that you have, and through a medium of art or music, create something so that the listener or viewer of that piece, when they see it, it emotes the same feelings that you had. And if you've done that, I think that's really the definition of being able to be successful in writing a song. Stepping back and saying, I think I've done what I wanted to do here.
Just
So,
another means of expression of getting thoughts and ideas out. Is it therapeutic for you, Phil,
oh
when
yes,
you sit down to write a song and you say, "Look, this is what I'm doing today," and
absolutely, of course it is. And you know, it's really funny because you know, my wife is a therapist. That's what she is. She's a psychologist. She's a, you know, I used to call her the shrink, you know, but it's and for, you know, for many years when she was getting her state board license, you know, I used to joke and say, you know, I'm just a case study because as soon as you've got this, then I'll be gone. But it's really funny though, Pat, because she said to me several times, she said, have you ever gone to therapy? Have you ever considered going to therapy? Or not that I need it, but have you ever considered what it'd be like to talk to somebody and to talk out your problems and to talk out the things that, and I said to her, why would I do that? Because if I did that, I'd run out all of my ideas for my songs, because that process of writing a song is absolutely therapeutic. It gives you the opportunity to go backwards and forwards, round and round with these ideas, and and analyze them and think about them on a word by word basis. And when you've written a good song, you can step back and somehow you feel that you've got some resolve to whatever it was that you had inside your head, and you feel some closure. I mean, that's really the whole purpose of therapy anyway. You're just doing it as a team. And trust me, I mean, it's not just me writing a song. I write collaboratively with me, myself, the three of us are usually wandering around talking to myself late into in the wee hours of the morning. And you talk to yourself. You say, is this what I really feel? I don't know. Is it? And you try to poke it apart and you try to get to the crux of what it is. And when you can put that song together and somebody else can listen to it and say, wow, you know, I really identified with that. I got this feeling that blah, blah, blah. And you think, well, that's exactly the feeling that I had. And so therefore I've been successful. But there is truly nothing less interesting than a song that says, I did this, I did that. You know, I met this girl, I broke up with her, I fell in love with her, and she broke my heart. No, it's not very interesting. When you can take yourself out and turn it into, have you ever? Did you ever experience this? Did you ever go through something like this? I think that's where people identify.
and I think that's the key, because people do identify it and they go, I was that person.
Yeah,
I had that. I got, she broke up with me. I was there. I was rock bottom and I needed a boost up and you lift me. And then you crank up when you really relate to the song and you crank it up and then you know the whole song and it's just like bang.
yeah.
Speak.
I have a funny story to tell you. Actually, it was when I was working with Steve Lukather, who's a phenomenal guitar player, and we used to write a lot together. And I wrote a song called "Broken Machine" for him on his Luke album. And this was a lyric that's something that it was so sort of close to me and so difficult for me to write that it took literally months to write the lyric. I mean, some songs come together very quickly. This took me a long, long time. And when it finally came together, I was thrilled to bits with it. I loved it. And Steve loved it. And we were in the studio, and everybody who came by the studio at the time, he was hanging with Eddie Van Halen, Alex Van Halen. They would come down to the studio. Eddie heard it. He said, "You know that song's about me, right?" And then Alex said, "You know that song's about me." and the guy producing at the time was like, "You know, that song was written about me." And Steve said, "You know, that was." Everyone who heard this song said, "This was about me. It was my story. It was my story." And I remember sitting there going, "Nah, it was my story, but you know, it's everybody's story."
I wrote it. Wait a minute, time out. That's cool.
We've all experienced this, so you know that's really a great moment. It's a fun time.
No, and I know you did a lot of work with Luke. Everybody loves Luke, and he just put out a solo album, and I got him hopefully coming up in a few weeks to chat with again. And you had a Grammy nominee, right, on one of Luke's tracks.
Who?
You were listed for a Grammy nominee on a Luke.
Actually, it was a photo track that we wrote together.
Okay.
It was After You're Gone, and it was nominated for Best Produced Song or something. It was way back when. But no, Steve was a beautiful cat and a wonderful soul, and just a tremendous guitar player, as you know, great writer, great singer. And we enjoyed some really great songwriting successes and through the years.
Had a chance to meet him, chat with him numerous times. I loved his book. I mean, it was just wide open, the gospel according to Luke, and he laid it all out there. And I know you got something you're working on, right? An autobiography as well.
Yes, I'm actually. It's been you know, it's a weird thing. I suppose it's a little bit like you don't really finish it. Let's get to a point where you're going to abandon it, because every time I go back to do another reread, I keep adding bits to it and changing things. And at some point in time, I'm just going to have to kind of step away from it and say, okay, well, this is time stamped here.
Part 1, boom. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's been draining writing something like that.
You know, talking about your songwriting, preparing for today, I found Vibrate, which you released in 2006, and really loved Free My Soul. Man, you had some really good stuff. And then I found No Protection, your second solo. And that, if I read correctly, it kind of was right after sadly, the unexpected passing of your dad.
Yeah.
But no, it was an elderberry trees. I mean, there was a lot of, I mean, I'm like, man, people don't, I remember they say Phil and they go, oh, Shot in the Dark. Yeah. But if you dig a little deeper, you're going to find these other tracks that you do a great job with.
Yeah. I mean, Shot in the Dark, of course, is the big hit that everybody knows, but you know, there is a ton of other stuff I've written, and you know, we talked about the Luke stuff, the stuff I wrote for Vince Neil. There was and the stuff, some of the best stuff I think I wrote was with some of the stuff I did with Luke, for example. It was tremendous, and you know, it's until you, but there's always the one thing that brings people in, I suppose. And then once people have heard that, then they want to dig a little deeper and find out a little bit more about the other things that you write. Many of the songs I've written have gotten into film, and you know, you mentioned Vibrate. There's a track at the end of that called Water's Edge, which is kind of a very Pink Floyd-y sounding track, and that's found its way into quite a lot of film. And
good for you.
Yeah.
Well, here, being an independent, I'm doing my best to keep new music and old music alive, and we create our own playlist. And I'm the program director, so we're going to be cranking up a lot of Phil Soussan, and maybe I could throw in all 3 tracks so people go, wow, I didn't know that about Phil. And speaking of songwriting, I mean, we got to talk about our buddies Vivian and Vinny and Andrew, last in line. I know you guys are working on album numbers. Tree, and I think when I talked to Viv, I said, when I talked to Viv about the songwriting process, if I recall correctly, Viv says, you know what, we kind of just jam it. We don't come in, you know, it's not like, hey, Phil come in with ideas, Andrew comes in with ideas. We just let it all go. And I go, that's
No,
that's pretty interesting. Is
no, in
that
fact, it's quite that. I mean, when I first started writing with the band, I called Viv and I said, Viv, I'm going to put together a few just ideas I've got just on a tape, and I'm going to bring them in so that, maybe it can spark some ideas for some stuff to work on. And so we don't end up like three pregnant goats looking at each other, and, and he said, no, 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 do not do that. That's absolutely not what we do. And it's not how we did things in the early Dio days. And we have continued the tradition in Last in Line by trying to write material with exactly the same formula as we did way back in the day. So it would be best if you just came in completely cold and fresh and see what
wow.
happens. And that was incredibly refreshing. I mean, to hear that from someone is, I mean, in this day and age where everybody, has a
A
home
studio
studio,
in a house, right?
as you can see,
Yeah.
and sits there and comes up with respectable productions almost of their ideas, and then brings them in. To hear somebody say, no, 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 just come in cold. Let's see what happens. Let's take this from a very earthy, a very granular point of view. It's very traditional. It's very old school, and it's just not done these days.
I mean, but this shows you the true. Do we really have the chemistry? This is so organic. But you know what? I have to agree with that. As funky and crazy as it is, I would always ask some of the artists like yourself, do you prefer being in the studio together like the old days, or do this thing, sending wave files? And as a non-musician, I'm not a musician, I would want everybody in the studio. I would be afraid that I would miss that magic, Phil. That you go, wait, 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 Viv, do this, or Vinny, try this, or I think that's so important. Am
It
I
is important, and you're absolutely right. I think that is the holy grail of being able to be in a band, to be able to be in a room with 3, 4 other individuals and working on stuff, and realizing that you're all contributing to this buffet in some way. There's no one in this band that does not contribute as much as the next person, and it's completely natural. It's filled with, bits of humor. It's filled with different personalities. You know, you've got Viv, who is incredibly open. I mean, no matter what you suggest, yeah, let's try it. Yeah, let's try it. Let's try it. You've got Vinny, who always hears things in a very unique Vinny way. You'll get to this part in the song and it'll go through a 4 count or something, and it's, hey, I got an idea. Why don't we do like a 5 count? Like, 5? Okay, let's try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. And you go, yeah, wow, that's great. And then Andrew is just has an incredible musical sensibility. I mean, he is what is he? He's like a chameleon sponge. I mean, he takes from every possible musical influence you can imagine, no matter how diverse, and finds something great to incorporate into what he does. And it's just a great. I mean, we've been together for a few years now, and honestly, there's just nothing that you can fault about this working relationship. It's absolutely ideal. I mean, I don't care if we never sell another record. To me, this is the most cathartic and enjoyable project I've ever been in.
the fun you guys show, the sickness, your little chat thing. It is so funny. You're talking about music and food and craziness. And Viv's like, can I shut off? I want to go to bed. It's just too funny. But
no, Viv is very, very dry. So first of all, so he's like, he's always like, I think we suck. And it's his humor. But then I get notes and emails from texts from people going, Viv really needs to cheer up a lot. That's his humor. That's the kind of the humor, But
to see you guys live is insane. I mean, the chemistry is, and Viv is so laid back. When you see Viv with Leopard, he's got a role, and Phil is really the guy, and Viv. But to see him with you guys is a whole different. It's like a monkey off his back. He has a smile on his face from ear to ear, and you guys crush it. I mean, the set list is, people go, well, a lot of Dio. I go, well, yeah, it's great. I love to hear Dio. But when you play the original, the landslides, and I have them listed down here that stick up in my head. Devil and Me from Heavy Crown, Electrified, Black in the Sun. People love your original stuff, so I'm like, this, you guys are a killer band, and I can't wait for record number 3. Can you share anything of an idea of a release, or how far you guys?
Well, we've got an idea for a release, yeah.
Yeah.
We've had an idea for a release for a while. It's just to follow up on something you said. The obvious thing is, and I've heard it many times before, that we're like a Dio tribute band. We're going to pay tribute to the original songs, and there are some songs, and if we don't play those, we'll be lynched. If we don't play certain songs, and they are those guys' songs. They, Vinny and Viv wrote those songs, and they, so that's why we do. But I have to say, I mean, a lot of them, the original material has been accepted, and people know and love that material. It's not something you can engineer, and we're very, very fortunate and we think we're so grateful for that, because that's you. At the end of the day, you have no control over that. You can put
Right.
out great material, and people will say, "No, we want to hear We Rock." But in this particular case, it's worked out. Something we did, I don't know, in the stars worked out right, and it's been accepted. So when that happens, we have to run with it. We did that at Download Festival, when we only had a short set, and we had a debate before the show, and we decided to do something very bold. We said, we'll do a whole show, but we won't do any Dio songs. For the biggest concert we're going to play, we will not play a single Dio song. And we didn't. We did actually, for the very, very last one, we had to do one Dio song, but we basically did our whole set as all original.
And the people loved it, right?
People loved it. And so we were very, I mean, we don't take that lightly. We don't take that lightly at all. We're very, very grateful for that. We consider ourselves very fortunate. However, the new album is, of course, subject to a lot of what everyone else has been going through. So we have a couple of challenges. We're in between record deals at the moment, so that's something we're working on. We have meetings about that actually tomorrow. In the meantime, we have written about half the record. We've written 6 songs, I think. 4 or 5 of them are 4 are definitely completed, and the other 2 are in various stages of completion. We will have to get together for a session or 2 to write the remainder of the record. And we are working on right now, as we speak, a very, very special song that we're going to be putting out fairly soon. I can't tell you any more than that, but it is something in the interim between us coming up with a new album or releasing a new album and now. So we'll do this as a video single, similar to what I've done. The songs are another progression from the last album. The difference between Heavy Crown and 2, and now 2 and whatever this next album is going to be called. We don't know yet, by the way. But it's definitely evolved even more. It's gone into even more of an evolution, but we are always trying to keep the characteristics of Last in Line there. I mean, you can't shake those things. You can't shake Vinny's drumming. You can't shake Vivian's playing. And I'd like to say the same thing about myself, and of course Andrew.
Oh my goodness, yes. The first 2 albums killed it, and everybody's really on edge. Can't wait to hear the third. And I have to say, and I don't know if I told you when I saw you in Poughkeepsie or even Connecticut, but more and more when I talk to people about this band, the Last in Line band, it's over the top that everybody says there is no better replacement for Jimmy Bain than Phil. And I certainly agree with that. And I don't know your relationship with Jimmy, and I know you knew Jimmy, but it's like keeping his legacy alive. Boy, I said, man, Phil is a perfect fit. And then to see just you guys are always filming the video after the shows, the sickness chat. I mean, it's a fun time for all you guys. But I wanted to let you know about the Jimmy Bain, keeping his legacy. I'm sure that means a lot, not to just you, but for all the guys.
It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the guys. It means a lot to Sam, to his daughter. I was very close with Jimmy for a long, long, so many years. I was, In fact, we lived together for a while.
Wow.
Way back when I was last last few last period that I was with Ozzy when I first moved to LA. I lived with Jimmy, and so when I joined the band, of course, I was honored and flattered, and we didn't know what the intention was for the band, whether it was just to fulfill some obligations, some concert obligations, or whether it was going to be extended, or even if it was going to go on. We didn't know, and so the way I looked at my role there was to try to channel Jimmy as best possible, play exactly what he played when we played the original Dio material, and play exactly what he played when we played the original Last in Line material, because I did not play on that first record.
Right.
So really, I was there just to channel Jimmy, and it was my little way of being able to pay tribute to him, because he was not able to perform those songs that he'd worked very hard on and written, and I was able to do so on his behalf, and that's why that made me feel really good to be able to do something like that. The fact that the band continued and grew legs after that is just is bonus.
I mean, just to get the phone call, I'm sure you had to pinch yourself and go, "Really? This is. I'm all in. There's no. I'm not missing out on this."
Yeah, I mean, I knew I'd get the call. I think because I'd worked with Vinny for so long, because I worked with Andrew for a long time, because I'd been in a sister band. You know, we were like sister bass players. That's the right word. But in this day of gender identity, that would be, I suppose, that's acceptable. But it's, me playing bass with Ozzy, him playing bass with Dio, Ozzy and Dio having their relationship. We were sister bands.
Yeah, exactly.
We each had our counterparts, and so in that way we sort of identified. And I got I pretty much knew that I was going to get a call, but I also knew that there were a lot of other people that they wanted to try to play with, you know, great suggestions, great ideas, but just to make sure that they were making the right decision. And so I just went into it with that attitude and just said, well,
They made the right decision. Are you kidding me? You're the man, Phil.
Thank you.
Speaking of bass players, unfortunately, we lost the great Tim Bogert, and I mean, he had to be a big influence for you. I would think of as many. I mean, watching that guy play, and with Carmine, we were talking before we hit the record button. I mean, the Carmine and Tim and Jeff Beck and the Vanilla Fudge, and it's like, oh my goodness, he had a unique way of. I don't know if he was plucking or picking. I mean, when he did his solos, it was like, what is this?
Yeah, he had a very unique sound at the time. I mean, it was a very forward sound. A lot of bass players back then had that big, round, deep kind of sound, and here's a guy with distortion who's actually using it. And after he passed, I went back and I listened to all those albums, and I was listening to the Beck Bogert A Peace album, and I went over that. Or is it Beck Bogert and Apathy? I don't know. I went over that like several times.
Yes, no, it's a piece. It's a piece.
Yeah, right. Two brothers separated by a common surname. But I went over and over listening to that stuff, and then realizing just how important what he did was in that album. And I mean, those three guys together, you've got Carmine, who is an absolute signature drummer. I know it factually that John Bonham thought he was the bee's knees. And I think it might have been John Bonham who said that at one time, that if anything happened to him, that Carmine was the only guy who could replace him.
Wow.
You had that guy. You had Tim. Yeah, you had Jeff Beck, who had this just unbelievable range of sounds and the textures and everything else. And Tim Bogert, who also had the same. And my favorite format, which is a three-piece band. You can't mess around. You each have to be three very strong personalities. And listening to the album, I realized how much I missed it, and how much I had to go back and relearn and re-listen to that stuff. He was just such a visionary for bass players. I don't know another bass player in the world who's not got a great deal of influence from Tim Bogert.
What's your favorite bass line out there from any band? Bass, what's your number one bass line for any song out there?
Oh God. That's a tough one, man.
That is a lot, right? I think of
Tough one because it goes across. You know, it spans.
there's so many different bands. I think of Rush. I go, what is it? YYK. I think of there's so many. It's like,
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, you know, I have to go to the bass players that I loved and admired throughout my whole life, and I have to go to the McCartneys.
Oh my
I have
goodness,
to go
yeah.
to, you know, and then I have to go through all my sort of rockabilly influences. I have to go through my early rock influences, Andy Fraser, you know, and some of the stuff that Andy Fraser did. A little bit of love. I love that track. I would do it in my solo band, and you know, and uh, in the verses he doesn't play, but it's one of my favorite bass lines. So how does that make any sense, right? So there, and then you go through all the fusion stuff that I did, all the Jacko, Stanley Clarke, Ralph Armstrong, Tom Fowler, Chuck Rainey. I mean, the guy was an amazing bass player. The two bass players that came out of R&B to me was James Jamerson and Chuck Rainey.
Oh,
These guys are monsters.
monsters, yeah.
And then you get through John Paul Jones, who's another great. Trevor Bolder. Gosh, I mean, growing up, Bolder was incredible. You know, Tim
No
Bogert,
doubt.
of course. I mean, where do you stop? You know.
I know. Well, I just figured I'd throw that out there just to see what you say. I'm in love with the 59-second gourmet, dude. You just have a natural act of instructing, teaching. You really enjoy that. I mean, whether it's the refrigerator, whether it's fixing the deck, it's the front door, there's the dog, it's making chili, it's Caesar salad, it's shepherd's pie the other day. I mean, people are going, where's the chicken recipe, Phil? And it's like, you really enjoy, obviously, and then you do the bass tips and tricks. You're really having a good time in front of the camera.
I'm going to be doing more of that, actually. I held off on doing any more bass tips, tricks, only because I've been talking to a guitar company about possibly doing a series with them. So before I did that, I want to make sure that that was something we're going to do. So hopefully I'll start that up again pretty soon.
Anything else that I could help promote before we get into Fly Again with Phil Soussan? And I'm going to play the second track of Please Don't Make Me Wait, because that's a great track. That is awesome.
Well, Please Don't Make Me Wait. It was a song which, you know, I was sitting at home like everybody else, messing around with ideas, and this song just started coming together, and the lyric came together. I mean, I had the title, Please Don't Make Me Wait, and it was working. And then, and I was sitting there going, how can I make this relate to something? And then I went, wait a second, this is what's going on. I'm sitting at home waiting. And
I want to play.
I want to play again. And then that's what the song became about. It became about us, about our whole industry being like put on hold. We can't play, we can't work. Not just us, people who work at the venues, people who are bartenders, people who are road crew, people with sound, lights, everything. And then I had this idea of reaching out to all my fans and saying, hey, please go out there and send me a photograph of your favorite local venue shut down. I can't tell you what it's for, but I'm going to be putting it into a video. And people sent all this stuff in. So in that way, I was able to include their, you know, the fans' participation as well.
Oh, it's great.
It's about all of us. It's also about the fans. I mean, without the fans, we don't do anything. You know, what are we if we don't have fans? So we're all in this together. We do this, you know, we have these concerts and we play these gigs. It's for our enjoyment, it's for the fans' enjoyment, it's for our relationship with the fans, theirs with us. And they are very, very much part of what we do. And so I wanted to incorporate them into something that had this message. So really, this is for the fans. This is for people out there as much as it's for me or any other musician.
That was a great job, and it's great that you incorporated the fans. I love stuff like that. And what was I just thinking? Oh, your thoughts on getting back on stage, that first show that you're back on stage. What's going to go through your mind? I mean, my last live show was that I attended was February 15th. Roger Hobson of Supertramp. You know, and he doesn't tour a lot, and I'm like, I'm not missing that.
And I got to. The band was.
What's that?
Do you remember how big they were?
Oh my God, yeah.
Jeez, and it was like one summer where they became so big. It was the Breakfast in America tour, and then every other album they'd ever done that was fantastic, by the way. all of a sudden got this resurgence and went flying into the charts. Remember that?
Absolutely. I grew up with, I'm like, I am not missing meeting Roger and seeing that show. And all of a sudden there's no more shows. I'm like, what happened here?
Yeah.
So as a musician, what are you thinking? You know, maybe you got to get on a plane again and get to see everybody, your crew, Mark Webber, you know, everybody.
Oh,
Just
Supermarket.
super.
You know,
Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I'm probably going to be thinking about, I'm standing up there going, shit, I hope I remember how to do this. Really? We did a gig here in town just before Christmas. I'll tell you about that in a moment. But when I went up there, literally the first thing that happened, I got up there and said, and realized, I went, wow, it's been a while. First thing I thought, it's been a while. First of all, I couldn't remember how my wireless system worked or how I was supposed to set it. I was going, oh, what do I have to do here? And then the next thing is, if I'm thinking this about a wireless system, what am I going to be thinking about about my playing, you know? But it was fine. But, you know, when you do a lot of shows, you start to take it for granted that you feel very comfortable and you don't have to think too much about what you're doing. You have to think more about how you're doing it than what you're doing. And, you know, I dare say that'll flash through a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, I think in a way it could be even, you know, emotional and meant, you know, that I got a crowd again. I remember they were talking about these drive-in theaters, you know,
Yeah.
putting a stage in front of a drive-in theater and everybody's sitting in a car. Okay, and after the third song, everybody's like hitting the horn. You don't feel the energy. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to a drive-in theater, sitting in a car watching a band. It's not the same. I mean, I want to be up on my feet. I want to get to the stage. I want to really be part of it. And yeah, we are.
Go on, sorry.
No. Go ahead, Phil.
No, I you know, I agree with you. I just think that it's going to be very, very difficult for the big festivals to start moving again. That's what I was going to say. I think the smaller shows will probably start up first. And then for last in line, that's great. That's what our majority of our shows tend to be in, that, you know, 1,000, 1,500 capacity type venues. And those are easy to put together. All we have to do is get a hotel room and arrange a flight. But when you're doing the big shows, they have to build stage sets. They have to rehearse them. They have to. There's a lot more to move. It's like moving a battleship, starting to get that battleship moving, you know. And I think it's going to be really tough for the big shows.
New York, the governor of New York just announced yesterday that he's allowing the big venues, sporting events, fans can start to go back to a sporting event and go to the big, anything, what is it, 10,000 seats and higher. He's going to open it up for, but it's only up for 10% capacity. So 10,000 seat, 1,000 people. I mean, I don't know what promoter is going to sign up to rent a place for that.
Because the costs involved in that 10,000 seater are just astronomical. You can't cover that with a 10% capacity.
Yeah, no.
But so you know, if you want to play to 1,000 people, then go play to, you know, find a big theater and put, I don't know,
500 people
in there.
Right, that makes sense.
You'll make more money.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not all about making money, but at least you'll be able to cover the costs.
Yeah.
Right?
And there's one thing that you guys do that I don't know anybody else does, and you do the ultimate VIP. And to see a fan get an opportunity to play a bass, sing, play Vinny's drums, I'm like, oh my goodness. To watch that twice I thought was pretty cool. I mean, if somebody wants to do it and get on stage with you guys, I said to Vivian, how was it? He goes, I watched a guy he played drums. I forgot, maybe it was Rainbow or one of the songs. And Viv's like, yeah, it was really weird. It's not Vinny. And I'm trying to like stay with this guy. And this guy was like,
you know, we've been trying to use that to replace Vinny for years now. But I'll tell you what, you cannot replace Vinny, and I'll tell you why, because he is quite possibly the loudest drummer I think I've ever played with, and it just goes to show it's not about the drums, it's not about the kit, it's not about the sticks, it's not about any. You can put someone behind that kit, you put Vinny behind the kit, and one guy you can't hear, and the other guy, it's like, wow, there it is, and it's amazing. I mean, it really does it really is a testimony to the idea that everything comes from the individual, you know.
And that's
People get caught up. They say, "Hey, I want to know what guitar Jeff Beck uses, what amp he uses, and you can use the same thing. It's not going to sound like Jeff Beck."
No. And that was exactly what Vivian said. He's so used to Vinny just pounding and playing loud on this guy, and he's like looking at him and like, okay, we'll get through it.
Yeah.
Phil, thank you so much for your time. Happy Valentine's to all. It's release day for Fly Again, the single, the video. Go to Phil Soussan YouTube. Watch him cook, watch him fix, watch him do it all. We can't wait for the next Last in Live album. We're going to play Fly Again. We're going to do Please Don't Make Me Wait. Phil, I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I have.
Absolutely did, Pat. Thank you so much for having me here. It's always great to see you. It's always a pleasure to see you. And
we can't wait to get you back to Poughkeepsie, New York. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's get back out there.
All right, man. Phil, stay well. Time to fly again with Phil Soussan right here on Pat Soundbites IGTV. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fool's game. That's I'm rolling up my sleeves, tucking my shirt in. Work my fingers to the bone. Been higher than the trees, back down on my knees. There's not a stone I've left unturned. Well, I can give and take and reciprocate. If I can get a break, I've got what it takes. So I said, please don't make me wait. I've been waiting here a long, long time. I said, please don't make me wait. It's getting out of reach, I'm losing my mind. I said, please don't make me wait. I've been waiting here a long, long time. I said, please don't make me wait. 'Cause if you do, I start to forget you. You know I start to forget you, get you. Is there a rat in the ointment? Or grease on the wheel? You know it all becomes pointless to beg, borrow, or steal. Well, I can give and take and reciprocate. If I can get a break, I've got what it takes. So I said, please don't make me wait. I've been waiting here a long, long time. I said, please don't make me wait. It's getting out of reach, and I'm losing my mind. I said, please don't make me wait. I've been waiting here a long, long time. I said, please don't make me wait. 'Cause if you do, I start to forget you. You know I start to forget you, get you. So I said, please don't make me wait. I've been waiting here a long, long time. I said, please don't make me wait. It's getting out of reach, and I'm losing my mind. I said,